ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ सप्तमोऽध्यायः ज्ञान विज्ञान योगः। Shloka number 15 onwards, he is going to talk about important topics such as bhaktas, bhakti, etc. So this is also a very important section of this chapter. So we will start with shloka number 50. नमां दुष्कृतिनो मूढाः प्रपद्यन्ते नराधमाः माययापहृतज्ञानाः आसुरं भावमाश्रिताः. So here in second line you have to add the visarga Mayaya Pahruta Jnanaha. It may be given as Jnana. So we have to add that. So here he is talking about people who don't believe in God. So when he talked about surrender in shloka number 14, it is a continuation of that. So who doesn't surrender to God? Who are the people who doesn't surrender to God? So he is giving a definition of them. He is giving 5 different types of people. That these are the categories of people who will say that God doesn't exist and they will not surrender to God. Like that he is saying. So we will see who they are. Actually, it says 4 kinds of people, but we will look at it as 5 different kinds of people for just understanding purpose. Dushkritinaha. First we'll go through the kinds of people, then we'll go through the shloka. Dushkritinaha are the evildoers. They will do harm to others. Those kind of people. So they will not fear God. They will keep harming others. So those are those evil people. And Mudaha is the ignorant people. They don't even know that something exists. Like all these truths are existing and they will be so ignorant. So this is Mudaha. And then Naradhamaha. Naradhamaha means the people who are very low, like they cannot be uplifted at all. They will only follow their lower nature, laziness, all those bad habits, like that. Naradhamaha they are called. And Mayaya Apahrita Jnanaha. Then there will also be kind of people who are always in these material things, who will always be in this moha, that okay, all these are so glamorous, like that. They will be in delusion. So those kind of people also, they will not spend much time or devotion to God. So that is one kind of people. Asura. So these are the asuras, demonic people. What do? They have bad qualities, the himsa, and they will do the asatyam, like they will not speak the truth, like that. They are the definition of asuras. So basically, if you want to tell in English, like 5 different kinds of people are the people desirous. People who have so much desire, they will not be too much inclined towards spirituality. Deluded people, they think right to be the wrong and wrong to be the right. Those kind of people. Then the ignorant people, the people don't even know something like this exists. And the low-natured people, going towards very low tendencies like bad habits, laziness, all those things. And sinful people, people who are committing sins like harm to others, those kind of people also. These are the kind of people who will not be devoted to God or they will not surrender to God. So we will go through this shloka. Namam dushkritinaha mudaha. Namam means unto me. Then he will say prapadyante. Namam prapadyante. No, to me surrender. They will not surrender to me. Dushkritinaha. This the evildoers. Mudaha. The ignorant people. Naradhamaha. The one who will follow their lower nature. And then Mayaya Apahrita Jnanaha. So those deluded and Asuram Bhavam Ashritaha. So they are the ones who have the demonic qualities, Asuram Bhavam. General translation is, the following kinds of people do not surrender unto me. Those who are ignorant of knowledge, those who lazily follow their lower nature, though capable of knowing me, those with deluded intellect, and those with a demonic nature. So these are the kinds of people who will not be interested in God. So he is starting with the people who are dushkritinaha, these kinds of people. So next he will talk about the good people. This was shloka number 15. Now shloka number 16. Shloka number 16 is widely used and quoted shloka. Chatur vidha bhajante mam jana sukritinarjuna arto jignyasurartharthi Jnani cha Bharatarshava. So he is going to talk about 4 different kinds of people here. So first we will see who are those 4 different kinds of people. We are also going to see in the next shloka more explanation about those kinds of people. So one part we will cover here. 4 kinds of people first I will mention. Artaha, Artharthi, then Jignasu and Jnani. These are the 4 kinds of people he is talking about in this shloka. So who are the Artaha? Artaha meaning people who will see God when they are in distress. Basically, God comes as a crisis manager. I have a problem, God, you have to solve this problem. Like that, they will worship the God. So that is the first category of people who will call God and they will make him the crisis manager. That is the first category of people. Then the second category of people, Artharthi. Artharthi is the person, he's slightly better probably because he will think about God in his happiness. He will make him his business partner. Basically, he will say, okay, God, if you give me all this, I'll do a big puja for you. I will do this in the temple for you. I will do abhisheka for you. Like that, he will make God business partner. He will try to share his things with him in the happiness. Also, he's thinking about him, but basically with the motive. So, Artaha and Artharthi. Basically, these 2 categories of people, God is subject to hire and fire. I hire you for this purpose. If you didn't deliver, I will fire you. These are the kinds of people will say, oh, I prayed so much to God, it didn't happen. So I don't think really there is any God or there is any power for him. Like that, they will start talking. So the Artaha and the Artharthi are these kinds of people. And then the next category is a Jignasu. If we are in this category, we are very blessed. So this category of person is what he really seeks God for the sake of God. And he is not worried about what God will give him. He is just focused on his prayer to God, basically knowing God for God himself. He doesn't want any distress to be removed, nor does he want any profit, or nor does he want anything from God. This is a much higher category of a person. And he is really in the path of seeking God. And then finally, the Jnani. Jnani is the one, really the person who is situated in the knowledge. Knowledge of what we will see in the next shloka as a continuation. Maybe we will not understand fully in this shloka. That the Jnani knows that the reality of him is the reality of God himself. It is already merged. He knows that it is the same. So this is the highest. This is what we are aspiring for. So he talks about Sukritinaha. Sukritinaha means only you have done punya, you will be in this category. Even Artaha, Artharthi and all, little bit punya you have done only, at least you will seek God, or you went to God to say, okay, solve my problem. Adi Shankaracharya says in Saundarya Lahari, Pranamtum stotum va katamakrita punyaha prabhavati. That means, if I didn't do any merit, how can they even worship God? If you didn't do merit before, you will not even get the name of God in your mouth. So you have done punya. If you are taking the name of God itself means you have done punya. So without doing punya, you can't even think about God or tell God's name and all that. So this is very important. So Sukritinaha. So why it is important? A step before even these stages is that you have to be doing some good in your life. You have to be going in the dharmic path, being good and doing good. So then only, if that punyam is there only, then you will be able to even see God as Artha or Artha. Otherwise, that also will not come to you. People will have the lower nature, bad habits, all that. I will go through the meanings. Chaturvida bhajante mam bhajante. The people are worshipping me, Chaturvida. There are 4 kinds of people that worship me. So Sukritinaha, that we saw, they are the pious people. They are the people who have done punya, who have done good deeds, and they are doing good deeds. Arjuna. So 4 kinds of people are Artaha, the distressed person will seek God and say, please God, save me from this. Just I have this disease or I have this problem, like that he will go. Jignasu. He put Jignasu here, but basically we categorize it as a 3rd category. So Jignasu is the seeker of the knowledge. He wants knowledge. He wants to know who God is. He wants to worship God for the sake of God, not for getting anything in return. Then Artharthi, the person who wants a material gain. Say, God, I will do this puja, you give this for me. Like that, he will have like a business mentality with God. And Jnani is the one who is situated the total knowledge of who he is and who God is. So there is no division. So then Bharatarshava, that means he is addressing Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, these are the four kinds of people. So the general translation is, oh, the best among Bharatas, four kinds of pious people engage in my devotion. The distressed, the seekers after the knowledge, the seekers of worldly possessions, and those who are situated in knowledge. So these are the four kinds of people. Shloka number 17. Tesham jnani nityayuktaha ekabhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninortyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. So here, tesham jnani nitya yuktaha. If there is no visarga, the two dots, yuktaha, we have to add there. And eka bhaktir vishishyate. The second line, priyohi jnaninotyartham. Yartham, there we will stop. Then aham sacha mama priyaha. Like that we will see. Here he is going to compare the bhaktas. He is going to say that this jnani is very best for me. Out of the four, the doubt comes, okay, I am only artha, I am only artharthi. He will say later that no, everybody is my bhakta only. I categorized all these four as my bhaktas only, no. So they are seeking me in some way. But out of all of them, jnani is greatest. Like that he will say. And why we will see here, what is the thing is that we are always self-obsessed, like everything is related to us only. Okay, every time our love will be for us only. Even if you do something very philanthropic, very service-oriented, if you say, okay, why do you do all these things selflessly for the others? What will be the answer? I am very happy. That word will always be used. Okay, you didn't want anything material, but at least you are doing it. Why? I'm so peaceful after I do things for others. I feel very happy in serving others. So this I is always the core thing. Even if you do something selflessly, this I will be there. We need to think about this because always it is only directed towards you. Something will be directed towards you only. That word I, me will be used every time. Now we will divide the love into three things. So I'm just going to give you the Sanskrit terms. So three words are used. So the sadhakaha is the seeker for the pursuant. And then you have the sadhyam or the goal. And then you have the sadhanam or the instrument. The three things, there is a seeker, there is a goal, and there is an instrument for getting to that goal. So these are the three things. For example, suppose you are a person, you want to go to Dubai. So you are the seeker. You are the one who wants to go there, right? And then the goal is what? Going to Dubai. And how will you go? By plane. That is the instrument. So these are the three things. So from now onwards, we will not use sadhyam, sadhanam and all that. We will use English terms instead. So what happens is that for the artha and the artharthi, the first two categories of the people, the first, the one being in distress and the other wanting things from God, what he did, the seeker, he wants to get to some goal. The goal is not God. The goal is removal of distress or getting things. He used God as the instrument. So the love for God was very small. The love for him was obviously more. And then there is a goal. And then he used the God as an instrument to get to his goal. That's all he did. But he definitely used God. God there was just an instrument. Now what the Jignasu does is that the goal is also God. He knows that, okay, I have to know about God, and I pray to God only for the sake of praying to God. I don't want anything from him. However he gives me, let him give me, rich or poor, it's fine. Like that he thinks. And for him, the goal is God. Now the goal changed. For Artha and Artharthi, goal was not God. Now the goal has changed, and this Jignasu also uses the instrument as God. Through God only he wants to reach God. So the instrument and the goal have become the same. So in the case of the Jignasu. Now again, but there are two things. There is a seeker and then there is this goal merged with the instrument as well, which was God. In the case of Jnani, what happens is that he knows that his reality is the same as the reality of God. The difference between the seeker and the sought, it just goes away. So everything is combined. There is no seeker, there is no sought, there is no instrument. Everything is the same. That is the highest perfection that we call the moksha. Maybe we are just arthas. We are seeking God for our problems. That's fine. But later Krishna say, okay, even then he's seeking me and slowly he will progress, no doubt. But if you realize this quickly enough, then you can progress very fast. So that is why he made the difference between these four kinds of people. And then in the shloka, he talks about the Jnani. What are the qualities of this Jnani? So did we understand this? There are three things, the seeker, the sought, and then there is an instrument. In the case of Artha and the Artharthi, they use God as an instrument to reach their goals. But this Jignasu, he uses God as an instrument to reach God only. But still there is a difference between the seeker and the sought. In the case of a Jnani, everything merges. It is only one reality, the highest. So here in this shloka, he says, Tesham Jnani Nitya Yuktaha. So this Jnani, Tesham, among these four people I have described in the previous shloka, Jnani, how is he? Nitya Yuktaha, ever steadfast. Nitya, every time he is steadfast. Because what? He doesn't come out of the truth. Why he talked about the vibhutis previously? See everything as God. This Jnani, never for a moment he thinks that nothing is God. So he is always steadfast in this knowledge. Nitya Yuktaha, not just when he is doing the puja or not when he is just meditating, ever united with God. 𝐁𝐶 𝐁𝐶 means just one-pointed devotion. He knows that there is only one reality. There is neither me, there is not anything else, but just one. 𝐁𝐶 Vishishyate, and this is the highest. Priyohi jnaninaha atyartam. So very certainly this jnani, this person of knowledge, is very high in my opinion. Aham saha cha mama priyaha. I am dear to him and he is also dear to me. So the general translation is, among these I consider them to be the highest, who worship me with knowledge and are steadfast and exclusively devoted to me. I am very dear to them and they are very dear to me. So shloka number 18. Udara sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam asthitas sahi yuktatma mameva nuttamam gatim. So here again he talks about the jnani and he gives consolation for all the ajnanis. He says that all the other people also, they are no doubt dear to me. They come for a purpose, I give them that purpose only. I'm not going to give them anything beyond what they are seeking. So be careful about what you're seeking. So whatever they seek, okay, I will give them. Sooner or later, I will give them. But the person who is exclusively devoted to me, he gets also what he wants, which is God himself. So he says, Udaraha sarva eva ete. So noble indeed, or all, sarva, all indeed, eva. Jnani tu atma eva me matam. Me matam, my opinion is that Jnani tu atma eva. Jnani is my very self. Because what? The Jnani has realized that the reality of God is the reality of him himself. So he is me himself, he is saying. He is my very self. Astitaha sahi yuktatma. Astitaha, he is situated, certainly yuktatma. He is ever united. Like last shloka we said, he is ever united. Inside meditation, outside meditation. Inside puja, outside puja. Outside also he sees everything as the Brahma Swarupa. Like that he is leading his life. So that person is completely merged in me. And Yuktatma mameva anuttamam gatim. He knows that anuttamam. Uttamam means supreme. Anuttama means is the most supreme goal. Like that he knows. The Jignasu itself from that stage, he started to say that I want only to know God. All these things immaterial for me. Like that knowledge he got. And he knows that that is the supreme goal of his life. So the general translation is, indeed, all those who are devoted to me are indeed very noble. But those in knowledge who are of steadfast mind, whose intellect is merged in me, and who have made me alone as their supreme goal, I consider as my very self. Now he is going to talk about again the jnani. What will he be? Like how it sees everything. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. So here he says again that these kind of people, these jnanis, are very, very few indeed. And in shloka number 3, if you remember, same chapter, he said, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschidyatati siddhaye yatatamapi siddhanam kaschinmam veti tattvataha. Very few people will even go in this path, who will even know that there is something like this. And in that path also, very few people will understand what is being told. And then after understanding, there will be like very few, one or two who will realize the absolute truth. Like that, the same concept is being conveyed here. Bahunam janmanam ante. So after many lifetimes, he will realize his knowledge, not one lifetime. So the people will say, okay, all this is going above my head. This life I will leave. I will just enjoy. And next life I will catch up. But it doesn't work like that, because a child is going to school. First class he didn't go. Whole year he bunked. That means, does it mean that he will not have to go to first class again? He has to still study from the first standard, second standard. So only if you practice, then it will continue. If you say that, okay, it is too much for me, or I can't be bothered, God says, take your time. No problem. There's no rush. I'm not pushing you to do all these things. But realize that again you have to start. You left it at this janma. You said, I'll tackle it later. You have to come back and you have to work, like from the very beginning, you have to work. So don't leave that grip. Bahunam janmanam ante. For anything you strive, right? Okay, a person receives a big award, then they do an interview for him. Wow, you have done this great achievement, you won this gold medal. So what will he say? Oh, actually, only 5 minutes, I was doing this running and I got it. No, he will say, this is my hard work. I worked for so many years. I have sacrificed so many things and I got to this level. So that is what is the nature of anything in this world. Then for realization, you must understand that it is a lot of hard work and it is a culmination of so many janmas. So if we came into this satsang, it means that previously we have done a lot of groundwork and practice to come here. Now we can use this and then propel ourselves forward. So every opportunity we must use in the right way. So that is what he is saying. Bahunam janmanam ante. After a lot of janmas, ante, after jnanavan. So one who is endowed with his knowledge, mam prapadyate. So he will surrender to me. This person will only get this knowledge that he has to surrender to me if he has done the groundwork. Otherwise, this thought even will not come to him that, oh, I must worship God. I'm in distress. I have to worship God. That thought also will not come. He will go in some bad habits. So that person will only surrender to me. Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So Vasudeva here means, doesn't refer to Krishna. It means Ishvara, the God, Sarvam. When Sarvam is used, it will also be told as a Brahma Swarupam. The Brahman is everything. It doesn't pertain to one particular God. Sarvam. They have used the word Sarvam. Iti. Sarvam, that word, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Like that, a reference is given in the Chandogya Upanishad. Everything is nothing but Brahman. There is nothing but Brahman from the Upanishad. And Purusha Eva Idam Vishwam. Like that one mantra is there in Mundaka Upanishad. The world is nothing but this one consciousness. So like that, the references are there. So that is why this word has been taken, that it encompasses everything. There's only one reality, which is the Brahman. Like that, he realizes this jnana. So, Samahatma, this great soul, Durlabha, very rare. Hardly anybody will come in this path. It is so boring to sit and listen to these lectures and to do all these things. So it is not pleasurable. Why waste one Saturday afternoon? Like that, people will only be not inclined for all these things. Even coming here and then practicing it, then realizing it. So it is going to be very tough, that he says. Why he is saying this? Not to discourage people. He is saying, buck up, get into the ladder, start to do something, because you need to practice a lot. If you want to reach the goal, you have to practice a lot. Like that, he is actually encouraging everybody to come to this path, and says it's a very long and tedious path, but there will be difficulties, no doubt, but the end will be a happy ending. Next shloka, we will also see the idols and gods that we worship in Hinduism, what is their significance and all that. But here we should understand that Vasudeva is referring to not just Krishna, it is the Brahmaswarupam, or we can even call it Ishvara, is also because they use the word Sarva. Okay, so the general translation is, after many births of spiritual practice, one who is endowed with knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be all that is. Such a great soul is indeed very rare. Shloka number 20. Kamaistaistaiर्हृतज्ञानाः प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः तं तं नियममास्थाय prakrutya niyata swaya. Basically, in Hinduism, there is confusion, right, about the gods and stuff that we worship, who is what, and all those things. So, a little bit of explanation we will see. In Hinduism, we have different gods and we have different beliefs. But actually, the truth is that there is only one reality, and we all are different personalities. We like different kinds of food, we like different colors, we resonate with different personalities. So the God was created to resonate with your personality. So you wanted the courage, you resonate with the God Hanuman. So what they said is, there is one reality. Choose the God that resonates with your personality and then worship that God. But if you just contain that and say that, no, this is only it, then it loses its truth, right? If you say that this person is 6 feet and he is of this color, he is 50 years old, then all the other things will not be true of this person. He cannot be 51 years old. He cannot be 5 feet tall. So that way, if you define God, then when you say that God is everything and God is all, that quality will be conflicting. So the concept is that there is one reality, but to get to that reality, which is very abstract, which a layman cannot do, pick something that you can resonate with. For example, Shiva Purana will talk about Shiva as the highest and all the other gods will be lower. In Bhagavatam, Vishnu will be the highest god. In Devi Bhagavatam, Devi will be the highest and then all the others will be lower than her. What in essence they are talking is, there is one infinite reality. When they are talking about Shiva and Shiva Purana, what they are saying is there is infiniteness. Worship him as Shiva. Here in Bhagavad Gita, when they talk about Krishna, it means there is one supreme reality, know him as Krishna. And in Devi Bhagavatam, when they say that worship Devi alone, what they mean is this reality can be worshipped as Devi. If you want like a playful character, you worship Krishna. So all those things are provided for us to grasp this concept. Fighting over which God is higher, which God is lower is not the part of our thing. Everything is this one reality. So there is no God is superior or inferior. It is based on your personality, but what you are indeed worshipping is actually this one reality which you brought it to this form. Somebody else is worshipping something else, so be it. But the truth is, we don't know that there is a truth of this reality behind that God. That reality only we are worshipping in that form. So that is what needs to be known. Adi Shankaracharya, okay, who is a great non-dualist. Why did he write so many devotional hymns? Out of the 5,000 top most ranked devotional, 1/3 has been composed by him on various gods. Muruha, on Vishnu, on Shiva, even on Ganges, Yamuna, everything. So there is a concept behind that, is that this is Brahman or this one reality, but you see it in this form. For example, one very small shloka, we will maybe see that, because to get an understanding. Ajam Nirvikalpam, I think it is Ganesha Stotram. So what he says, we are thinking, okay, Ganesha, we are worshipping Ganesha. There is in-depth meaning to the shloka. Ajam Nirvikalpam Nirakaramekam. Ajam means he is unborn. Ganesha is unborn. Nirvikalpam, he is without change. And Nirakara, he is without any form. We are seeing him in this form because it appeals to us. And Niranandam Anandam Advaita Purnam. He is beyond bliss. He is also full of bliss. And Advaita Purnam. There is nothing apart from Ganesha. And then Param Nirgunam Nirvishesham Niriham. He is without any gunas. And Nirvishesham. He is without any differences. And Niriham. He is without any material desires. And then Parabrahma Rupam Ganesham Bhajema. So I worship this Ganesha, the supreme Brahman personified. All the shlokas indicate that all these gods are the personification of Brahman. So there is no harm in worshipping any god. All are the same. The concept is that we should know that there is a principle called Brahman, which is told in the Upanishads also, that there is only one thing called Brahman. And then we worship based on our personalities and our likes. So here he is bringing that in the shloka. He is talking about Sakama Bhaktas in the shloka. Kamaihi taihi taihi hritagnyana. So what will the Sakama Bhaktas do? So this is a concept behind worshipping different idols. So you can worship any idol you want and think that it is a supreme reality and worship it. In that worship also, you are divided into two, whether you are a Sakama Bhakta or a Nishkama Bhakta. Sakama means you are worshipping that idol for getting some result. Artha or Artharthi. One of those two categories you will be, and you are worshipping that god or deity. But these basically, Brahman, it will have so many powers, right? So all the powers, one god, it has been assigned. So when you are worshipping that god, then, okay, I worship Lakshmi for wealth. That is also coming from this Brahman only. So you are putting it in that form. Okay, I worship Hanuman for courage. Like that, you have different powers. How you will say, okay, you take this department. Like that, it has been divided. And then one Devata has been assigned to all that. You worship that Devata with following the rules and protocols. Because when you are doing Sakama Bhakti, remember, protocols are very important. According to what has been said, the rules only must be followed. Okay, water has to be offered, that has to be offered. The fruit has to be offered. You cannot change or reverse or do whatever you like, because you will have reverse effect. We saw in chapter 2. Pratyavaya dosham will happen. So only when you do Nishkama things, then everything is forgiven. So when you worship God for the sake of worshipping God, we have the story in the south. He was serving Shiva with meat. Is it right? It is not right. Nobody will offer meat. But because of his devotion, it was Nishkama Bhakti, it is forgiven. So again, when you are worshipping these gods, Kamaihi, with the desire, Taihi Taihi, by various, Hritagnyanaha, they are carried away by various desires. After one desire is finished, another desire will come in their mind. Prapadyante, they will surrender Anya Devataha. So they will surrender to different gods for their wants, not for the sake of worshipping the god. They will do only to get some things. Devataha, tam niyamam astaya, tam, the various niyamas, rules and regulations, astaya, they have to follow. That vrata will give me this, will give me that. You have to follow the rules of that vrata. Only then the palan or the fruit will be given to you. Prakritya niyatasvaya. So by the nature, niyataha, controlled by their own. So they are controlled by following their own natures. They will follow their own nature in what? In going after these desires. So we saw that Sakama Bhaktas are the Arthas and the Artharthis. Nishkama Bhakta will be the Jignasu. And How is Jnani classified? Apta Kama Bhaktah. He has no desires to be fulfilled, or he is beyond all desires. If you remember in Brahmajnanavali Mala, we said Apta Kama Swarupoma. That means what? I am not the Swarupam, or I am not the person who has desires. Apta Kama. I am beyond all the. Like that, we have to meditate to get away from desires. So Apta Kama Bhakta. So these are the three categories how we will classify. Sakama Bhakta, Artha and Artharthi. Nishkama Bhakta is the Stignasu, and Aptakama Bhakta is this Jnani. Later, he will also say that there are various modes of worship also. When we are worshipping gods also, we have to worship the gods having the sattva qualities. Like Shiva, Vishnu, all those gods are the sattva gods. Later, we will see in Bhagavad Gita. So those kind of gods have to be only worshipped. Now, the general translation is, those whose knowledge has been carried away by material desires surrender to the celestial gods. Following their own nature, they worship the devatas, practicing rituals meant to please these celestial personalities. Sloka number 21. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah shraddhayarchitumicchati tasya tasyachalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. So in this shloka, very simple shloka. So it is only the faith, that faith in even a stone, that also God will bless. That okay, this stone is God. That also He will bless. He will bless everything. When they go with faith, yaha, whoever, yam, whichever, tanum bhaktaha. So they are devoted to whatever. Shraddhaya architum ichchati. So with faith, they wish to worship that, because they think that, okay, by worshipping this God, my desires will be fulfilled. Like that, they will have the faith in that God. Tasya achalam shraddha. So tasya, so I make that faith steady. Tameva vidadhamyah. By bestowing what they need. So how the faith in something increases, that is, okay, this God is very, very potent. Like that, people have faith. They have realized their desires from there, and then their faith will increase. He says that I only bestow, I bestow all these things to them, so their faith becomes very steady. General translation is, whatever celestial form a devotee seeks to worship with faith, I steady the faith of such devotee in that form. Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate labhate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. In the first line, we will break it. Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate. And then second line, labhate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. So he says that in this shloka, endowed with faith, these devotees get what they want. But I am only the one arranging for all this. Gods are bestowed with powers, but basically it is coming from one source only. Like that he is saying here. Sa taya shraddhaya yuktaha. That person with that shraddhaya, with that faith he is endowed, yuktaha, tasya radhanam ihate. Tasya radhanam, worship, aradhanam, worship, both are okay. Tasya radhanam ihate. So they will worship that God. Ihate, tries to engage in. Labate cha tatah kama. Labate, he will get that tatah, that kama, and those desires. Maya eva vihitan hitan. Maya, by me only, eva, alone, vihitan hitan. It is only granted by me only. Vihitan hitan. Certainly those, it is actually split of the words. He and tan. Vihitan hitan. But Adi Shankaracharya says that it can also be taken as hitan. So they are pacified with these things being given to them. Then the general translation is, endowed with faith, the devotee worships a particular celestial god and obtains the object of desire. But in reality, I alone arranged for these benefits.